Well, we have a live interview with Megan, and this is really exciting. She is absolutely an outstanding climber. She has climbed so many peaks. Trisha's with her live right now, and we are going to hear her story and what's on her horizon.
That's right, Meredith. I think the last time we caught up with Megan was right here in Bell Village.
It was.
You were about to go do Everest.
I got that. I was about to go to Kosciuszko to finish my 7th summit. Yeah.
Yes. So Megan has climbed all 7 of the highest peaks in the world, and she's not going to stop there. You are doing the Explorers Grand Slam, which not only is the 7 highest peaks, but also the North and South Poles. You've already done the South Pole.
Yes.
You're going to embark on the North Pole this spring.
Yes.
So you're not done yet.
So close. But yeah, so the Explorers Grand Slam is the highest peak on every continent. And so I finished that with the lowest one in Australia just in December, and then went right back into training. And so now I'm preparing to do the last degree ski to the North Pole, which is literally from latitude 89 degrees to 90 degrees. It's about 70 miles, so it's 60 nautical miles. So we are on kind of cross-country skiing across, pulling about a 70, 80-pound sled behind us.
Because you have to have everything. You're self-supported.
Everything. We're self-supported. And it is non-stop work for 7 to 10 days, running from polar bears. It's going to be really interesting to see how the climate change has also changed the North Pole and how much ice versus water there's going to be. There hasn't been really a last degree ski since 2018, so there's a lot of unknowns, which makes it very exciting for me.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about the highest peak that you did, because you went from Everest and then you did Kosciuszko, which is the lowest peak in the 7. But what was Everest like? I mean, many people hear about it, maybe dream about it, but never actually get to be on literally the top of the world.
Yeah. You know, and I used to ask this to people who had climbed before I had climbed. Everyone this little look like, how do I explain this? And now I know exactly why they feel like that. Because by the time you've done all the work to really like earn that right and that skill to be on top of that mountain, by the time you're actually there, it's kind of like, well, I just did my job.
Yeah.
And so it is at that moment anticlimactic, because you're also like, I have so far to go down, and there's like all these people trying to come up. So you're like, picture is great, let's get back down. But honestly, it does take several months to really process and be like, I did that. I think as human beings, when we're so focused on something, we just look at the last step we took as a measure of our success, and we forget where we started. And I had to have process from where I started, from this broken femur in Vail to being at the top of the world. And then I was finally like, okay, that was awesome.
I did it. And and that's the thing, is she did have this broken femur on Vail Mountain, was put back together again. And so it's amazing that you're able to do these climbs and do all of them. I mean, not just one.
Yeah.
And then Kosciuszko. So this is in Australia.
Yes.
And it's you said it's kind of like, it's not as hard as Everest.
But it is an adorable ski town called Thredbo.
Yes.
And it's literally a ski resort. So you could take a lift a good way up and then hike. But of course, my friend and I, we hiked from the bottom.
Yeah.
So we made it as hard as possible. But we did like a 12-mile loop. And it was actually supposed to be in the summer, but it ended up being a snowstorm. But that's fine. We were prepared.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I had the best bowl of pumpkin soup in my life. But to me, that was so rewarding, just sitting there like that was my 7th summit. Yeah. And that was such a big milestone for this long, 10-year long adventure that I'm on, to be able to say, done.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to focus on the North Pole.
Yeah, so you've already done the South Pole.
Yes.
And so what was that like?
South Pole in Antarctica is really amazing. What a lot of people don't know is it's actually, the South Pole's at about 9,000 feet.
Okay.
So luckily, being here in elevation, like I was good to go. But the South Pole is pretty flat, but you're just, gradual incline to that point. The North Pole is very, very different. It is ice over water, but you have all these pressure ridges possibilities. You could have open water. You, again, do have the risk of polar bear, and it is much more humid. So you've got to be very different layering systems. So I've been trying a lot of stuff out. Just went to a course with the guide Eric Larson out of Crested Butte, who's absolutely phenomenal, one of the best polar explorers in the world, going with him. And so it is just, you would think, oh, I have all the gear. No, you don't. Oh,
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about gear in just a moment, but what we're going to do right now is just kind of talk about, there's another reason why you're doing this. You have your foundation, grit, and this is something that you'll probably be able to focus on a little more once you stop climbing and trying to get to every pole and in the world and everything. So yeah, tell us about grit.
So my accident here in Vail Valley was a big catalyst for me really doing these mountains. But to get through the accident that I had, I realized my determination and my positivity was not normal because it was pointed out by others. And where did this grit come from that I had? I was able to trace it back to, I was diagnosed with dyslexia and learning disability when I was very young. And I was lucky to be diagnosed, and I had very supportive parents. And even with that, I felt so much shame and embarrassment, and my whole life, it was such a huge struggle to feel good enough. And I was determined to become an engineer, and I was told over and over again, you won't, you can't, you're not smart enough. And I fought tooth and nail and got my degree in aerospace engineering. And
yes, so she really is a rocket scientist, everybody.
I'm going to start the Vail aerospace program.
Yeah.
Luckily I work remote. So that is where it all started. Then being a female in engineering. Then when I had this accident, it was just another thing of, okay, they've given me a diagnosis. I'm not taking that. We're going to work through this. And so grit, which is 2 G's, which is kind of funny because I'm dyslexic, so I know. Okay, so it's gratitude, growth, resilience, integrity, and tenacity. And to me, those are the 5 attributes that will get you through any challenge. And you can learn those. Those are a daily practice, but you have to do the work. And so just like training for any mountain, you have to train your mind to believe in yourself and to keep pushing through even when you don't. And to believe in yourself when no one else will. And I love to teach others those tools, especially kids who maybe didn't have the support system I had. And you don't have to climb Everest to find that within yourself, but it's whatever goal you have. And every day you can use those tools to make your life better and reach your full potential.
Okay, perfect. I love that you're doing that. I can't wait to see what you do with that. All right. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to check in with Danica Carey. She is with Cirrus Gloves. And we're going to find out something that, all the work that goes into getting ready for the North Pole and the team that's helping put this together. So stay with us.
So inspirational to hear from you, and we'll hear a little bit more. So stay with us.